White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky, a sentimental love story from the memories of a dreamer. The first night. It was a wonderful night. The kind of night, dear reader, which is only possible when we are young. The sky was so starry. It was such a bright sky that looking at it you could not help but ask yourself, is it really possible for bad-tempered and capricious people to live under such a sky? That is also a young person's question, dear reader. A very young person's question. But may the Lord ask it of your heart more often. Speaking of capricious and sundry bad-tempered gentlemen, I could not help but recall my own commendable conduct throughout the whole day. From early morning, an astonishing melancholy had started to torment me. It certainly seemed that I, so alone, was being abandoned by everyone, that everyone was deserting me. Well, of course, anyone is entitled to ask who is everyone, because I've been living in Petersburg 8 years now and I've hardly been able to make a single acquaintance. But what do I need acquaintances for? I'm acquainted with all of Petersburg as it is. That's why it seemed to me that everyone was abandoning me when all of Petersburg suddenly up and left for their dachas. I was terrified of being left alone, and for 3 whole days I wandered about the city in a state of deep melancholy, not understanding in the least what was happening to me. No matter whether I went to Nevsky Prospect or the park, or wandered along the embankment, there wasn't a single person of those whom I have been accustomed to meet for a year now in the same place at a certain time. Of course, they don't know me, but I know them. I know them intimately. I have practically learned their faces by heart, and I admire them when they are cheerful and am crestfallen when they grow sad. I almost struck up a friendship with a certain little old man whom I met every blessed day at a certain hour on the Frontalka. His face is so dignified and thoughtful. He's always whispering under his breath and gesticulating with his left hand, while in his right hand he holds a long, gnarled walking stick with a golden knob. He's even noticed me and shows a cordial concern for me. Should it happen that I'm not at the same place on the Frontalka at a certain hour, I'm positive that he would be crestfallen. That's why we sometimes almost greet each other, particularly when we're both in a good mood. The other day, when we had not seen each other for 2 whole days and met on the 3rd day, we almost reached for our hats, but thank goodness we came to our senses in time, lowered our hands and passed each other by in sympathy. I also have houses that are my acquaintances. As I walk, it's as if each one I come to runs out into the street in front of me, looks out at me with its windows wide open and almost says, "Hello, how do you do?" And "Thank God, I'm well, but in May they're going to add a floor to me." "How do you do? And I'm having some repairs done tomorrow. I almost burned down, I was so scared," and so forth. I have favorites among them. Some are intimate friends. One of them intends to be treated by an architect this summer. I make it a point to drop by every day so that, God forbid, they don't kill it in the process. But I will never forget what happened to a certain very pretty little pink little house. It was such a sweet little stone house. It looked at me so cordially and so heartily at its ungainly neighbors that my heart would rejoice when I chanced to walk past. Suddenly, last week, I was walking down the street and upon turning to look at my friend, I heard a plaintive cry, "But they're going to paint me yellow! The scoundrels! Barbarians! They spared nothing, neither the columns nor the cornice, and my friend had turned as yellow as a canary." I almost had an attack of jaundice myself, and to this day I don't have the strength to see my poor disfigured friend who was painted to the color of the celestial empire. So now you understand, reader, how I'm acquainted with all of Petersburg.